Well, sales is all about aspiration, right? So, everybody, we started the Institute for Excellence in Sales in 2012. And we began to realize that some things might seem easy, right? I mean, there's tons of sales trainers out there. There's tons of great salespeople. It's not that hard to really know what to do, but you run into blocks all the time. Even the great salespeople, something happens, industry changes, a big thing like pandemic, obviously, or your company gets sold. Maybe you were 30 years at a company and then IBM comes in or Microsoft or whomever comes in and buys the company. So all of a sudden you're redundant. So you've had this great 20, 30-year run. All of a sudden, you have to rethink things. So there's blocks. And what sales trainers and people like you and I do is help people get past the blocks. So in understanding this disease, which there is treatment for, but it's a very, very dark and lonely, like I mentioned before. It's there's no good tests. Once it gets to the chronic stage, it's not like one thing happens. The analogy I use is if you break your ankle anywhere in the world, in Sydney or Singapore or Shanghai or Sacramento, every orthopedic surgeon on the planet is going to take some x-rays. They're going to put you in a walking boot or a cast, and they're going to say, sit down for 6 weeks. Then we're going to put you on 2 weeks of rehab and you should be fine. There's no Facebook groups for people with broken ankles. There's no associations created to help people get past the mental trauma of a broken ankle. Now, you might have gotten some things that you need some counseling with, but, there's hundreds, I should say, of Lyme disease charities and advocacy groups because there's so many problems related to it. But I would see people who got the disease and then they would create a charity to raise funds for medical supplies or appointments or medicine, if you will. And I began to see this community was pulling together to raise each other, from a very, very dark place. And I would go into Facebook groups that I didn't even know existed and people saying horrible things about what they were going through. And then seeing 50 people chime in with, PM me, let's talk. Or maybe there's an organization where you live in Kansas. Maybe you need a different type of a treatment. Maybe you need a doctor that understands what you're going through. There's very specific doctors who understand Lyme. It's a very, very unique and small subset. So people would say, hey, have you tried this? Or people would say, I've been trying this new herbal protocol, but I'm not getting better. And then people would say, you need to give it 3 months. Or you need to ensure that if you're doing that protocol, you have to stop eating eggs, whatever it might be. And I began to see all these people coming together and supporting each other. And I said, that's what we need in the sales world, right? It's not competition against obviously sales in a lot of cases is competitive. You lose a deal to a competitor, you lost the deal. It's not a great thing, but you're not going to die. So what do you do tomorrow, right? And how do you tell your boss you need help, right? And how do you beat him? A lot of people say sales is a team sport. In some regards it is. Do you have the supportive environment? Have you built your network, right? A lot of the people that work with us at the Institute for Excellence in Sales sell into the public sector. So you might be competing one day with another company and tomorrow they may be a partner because they're the incumbent. Or the government customer says, we want technology A, but we also have this new requirement for technology B. So, you see companies that you would think are head-to-head competitors have to work together to figure it out. So that's what we like to talk about at the Institute for Excellence in Sales. And that's something that really got elevated to me when I got deep into this one.